Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to elenasbarre Low Impact Full Body Workouts. My name is Alena. I'm your fitness instructor, and I'm today with Melody. She is one of the teachers of elenasbarre Teachers Community. I hope, guys, you enjoy her classes. If you are on Patreon, you get access to all of our workouts that we have been recording for a few years now with Melody and also with Pikia. Go check them out. Uh, Today's class is going to be a gentle yoga class with Pilates, right, Melody? Melody is going to lead the
Yeah.
class. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be some nice kind of gentle stretches, and then also we're gonna do a lot of stuff kind of in the shoulder stand bridge position too. So lots of like opening the front of the body. That being said, though, if you have neck injuries or osteoporosis, this is probably not the best choice. So I recommend doing another class. Elena's got plenty available, just because we will be going up onto our shoulders and our neck. Also, if you don't have any serious injuries or pre-existing issues, but you just know that that's not comfortable, you can totally like fold a blanket up. Let's kind of show real quick before we get started. And when you come up, you can put your shoulders on there so that your head is kind of just hanging off. And then that'll, keep you from having to kind of curve your neck quite as much.
That's a good recommendation. It reminds me a little bit of restorative yoga class, guys. If you join us next Friday, we are going to do a gentle restorative class with Monica. So you can check it out. It's on YouTube. There is a full length class with her, but we will record another one for you. Okay. Yeah, if you're new here, welcome. I hope that you find a lot of value from this channel. I hope that you subscribe, like, and share the workouts that you enjoy with other people. Join us for interesting discussions with Melody and Pikia, and yeah, let's have some fun. I'm going to mute myself just in case, and Melody, you're good to go. Guys, read the disclaimer in the description box, please, just in case, okay? So you're practicing all of the classes at your own discretion. Good, so I'm muting myself here.
All right, and feel free to unmute if I'm really explaining something poorly or you can't quite see what I'm doing or anything. So, but let's get started. So we're going to start with a couple seated postures, kind of some gentle mobility first, and then we'll get into our first Pilates things. So sit in any comfortable seated position. You can have your legs crossed. You can be in Vajrasana, Thunderbolt pose. It's kind of whatever works. I'm going to sit cross-legged. We're going to start with just some neck mobility, since like I said, we will be kind of rolling back and going up onto our neck, and it's morning at least for me, and neck's usually a little stiff when I first wake up. So let's start by just kind of dropping the chin down to the chest, and then kind of swoop like you're drawing like a little like smiley face with your chin on your chest. So just kind of go side to side like that. You want to keep the rest of your spine fairly straight though. So we're kind of just warming up the back and the side of the neck, just kind of gently stretching those muscles. Go ahead and drop your chin down to the center one more time. Hold, really sit up nice and tall. Get a nice stretch through the back. Bring your head back up to center, just looking straight forward. And now we're going to look like you're looking behind your left shoulder as far as you can. Back to center. Now look over your right shoulder as far as you can without feeling any strain. Back to center. Look over the left, and this time really try to pull down your right shoulder. Get a really nice stretch. You'll feel it kind of going from kind of behind under your ear all the way down, maybe even going down your arm a little bit. Back to center. Now the same thing on the right. So keeping the crown of your head like it's on a string being pulled up toward the ceiling. Just look behind your right shoulder as much as you can, and then drop that left shoulder. So again, you're going to feel a nice stretch all the way down your neck and across the top of your shoulder, and maybe even going down your arm a little bit. Great, look forward. Now we're going to kind of move that mobility down the spine a little bit. So go ahead, if you're in Vajrasana, you can come to a cross-legged stance. If you're already in cross-leg, go ahead and put your right arm onto your left knee. Your left arm is going to come behind you. And keeping your spine nice and tall, you're just going to twist and look behind. See if you can look all the way behind to the wall behind you. But you shouldn't feel any strain, and you want to keep your spine long and straight. So you're just kind of rotating the vertebrae. You're not actually flexing or extending the spine in any particular direction. Come back to the center. Put your your left hand on your right leg now. Right hand's going to come behind you. And again, you're just going to twist, keeping the spine long. Just look behind you. And you can get into your thoracic breathing a bit here. So think about breathing into the ribs more than the belly, which you're kind of forced to do that somewhat in this position. It's a little harder to take a deep belly breath when you're kind of twisted as far as you can go. Come back to the center. Now open your legs wide. And we're going to just kind of do some side-to-side spinal mobility now. So you're going to take your right arm and kind of keep your torso like it's on a plane between two panes of glass. You're just going to reach over for your left toes. You might touch them, you might not. You want to think about keeping your chest open toward the front. You can bring your left hand in front, and you can even kind of push into your left leg to kind of rotate your torso up. And come back up to seated, and we'll do that on the other side. So again, reaching over, kind of come to the side, and then think about reaching out. At the same time, that you want to make sure that your left seat bone is firmly planted on the ground. So you don't want to kind of come over and lift it up. It's really easy to touch your toe that way, but you don't get as good of a stretch through your side. And again, you can kind of push into your right thigh with your right kind of back of the arm. Open your chest, get a real nice stretch. And start to come back up to seated. We're going to start to get into some of our Pilates, warming up the spine a little bit more before we start going back. So you're going to sit with your feet just extended out in front of you. They can be slightly apart or together, but you don't want them super wide, not wider than the mat. And we're going to start by bringing our hands in a prayer position at heart center. This is just so that we can check in and make sure that we're actually moving with our torso and not with just our upper body. So what you're going to do is with an exhale, you're just going to rotate as far as you can to the right side. Inhale as you come back to center. Exhale. Rotate as far as you can to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Now you can keep going with the hands in this position. Like I said, that really kind of forces you to use just your core muscles to move. If you want, you can kind of cross your arms in front of you and keep doing that. But again, you don't want to be swinging the arms over. You want to keep your arms pretty much locked in place coming out of the shoulders. So no movement at the shoulder joint. All the movement is coming from your torso. And last variation, if you want, you can stretch your arms out to the side. Twist. We'll just do a couple more each side this way. So last set, one each direction. Again, exhale all the air out as you twist. Inhale as you come to the center. Exhale as you twist the other way. All right, go ahead and release your arms. And now you can grab a strap if you know that you have tight hamstrings and it's hard to reach your toes. Otherwise, you're going to reach your toes and just take a couple seconds like this. You don't want to be hunching over into the back. Try to keep the spine long. And then for kind of a nice little, this is a kind of a nice way I like to stretch between my shoulders. So you're going to keep your, basically just, you're not going to do nothing with your arms other than just hold on to your feet. But your feet are going to start flexed back and then you're going to point them. And so you're going to feel a nice kind of like tugging across the back of your shoulder blades. So you can do that just a couple times. So kind of pointing, when I point, my feet actually come off the ground because my knees are so hyperextended. But really just kind of do whatever feels good. Don't be concerned as much about how it looks, like I said, other than you don't want to be hunching your back way too much. All right, you can go ahead and circle your arms a couple times, both ways. Just do a little more twisting, kind of a gentle twist now. That last one was, we're really using our core muscles to twist, which actually activates them. So let's do a Marichyasana. So you're going to keep your left leg extended, bring your right leg up, bent into your body. And then you're going to use your arms, so mostly your left, to just kind of rotate your body toward that leg that's up. Again, you're going to want to try to keep your spine as long as possible. If you're really feeling ambitious, you can try to bind it. I don't know if I'm feeling that ambitious yet. I'm still kind of warming up for the morning. Let's do that on the other side. So extend the right leg. Left leg comes up, and you're going to hug around your left leg with your right arm. Again, this nice twist, keeping the spine long. And go ahead and release. Extend that left leg out in front of you. And we're going to do a little more kind of some stretching into our spine and getting our neck prepared to go up into some shoulder bridge type stuff. So, sitting nice and tall, you're going to put your hands behind your head. And then using your hands to kind of add a little weight, keep your pelvis perfectly stationary as you just kind of curve over. Feel a nice stretch going throughout the whole length of your back. Inhale as you come back up, and then exhale as you hollow and scoop the belly. And you're going to just start rolling down. Now you might be able to make it all the way to the ground. For me, when I notice that my legs start lifting up, that's when I know that it's time to come up. And if you come all the way down to the ground and then you realize like, wow, this isn't quite working, you can always release your hands because it is easier to come up with your hands in front of you. So you can come up like that and then replace them behind your head. Scoop and hollow, fold over, come back up. We'll just do that 2 more times. So again, scoop the belly, come down as far as you can, being able to get back up. Inhale, exhale as you fold over, kind of bringing the forehead and the elbows, more like the crown of the head toward the knees. Inhale, come up. 1 more time going back. So kind of scoop the belly, come down as far as you can, knowing that you'll be able to get back up. Sit up nice and tall with an inhale. Exhale, keep the pelvis perfectly still as you scoop and hollow, and like you're folding over a beach ball. All right. Go ahead and release your hands. Now we're going to come onto our shoulders. So the safest way to get down, I mean, you can just kind of flop back, but I've been reprimanded by yoga teachers for doing that. So kind of go into a mermaid thing, slide your arm out to the side, and then roll onto your back. So we're going to do some bridge prep here. So you want to start by just kind of finding your base. So your hands are going to be next to your hips, but a little bit away from them. You want to bring your heels as close as you can to your bum without feeling a lot of pressure or like tension on your kneecaps. And once you got that, start by just kind of pressing into the floor with your feet. You can also, if you feel a lot of tightness, you can roll up a towel and put it under your toes. But if not, just kind of work with putting the pressure into your feet and then relaxing. Do that a couple times. And you'll feel like without lifting your sacrum off the mat, you'll feel like it's not quite as heavy on your mat when you do that. Now let's kind of work into the lower back some. So you're going to keep your feet pressing into the ground and you're just going to rotate your pelvis. So if you had a tray of marbles, they'd all be rolling up toward your face. And your lower back, sorry, the cat's just kind of having a great time here. I'm going to press your lower back into the floor and then come back to neutral. Again, press down with the feet. Curl the tailbone toward the ceiling, press the lower back into the floor, and come back. So our next Pilates pose is shoulder bridge, which involves quite a bit of hamstring work. So we're just going to really quick, again, if you have tight hamstrings, I encourage you to use a strap for this. Otherwise, just lift your left leg, hook onto the left toes with the left hand, and try to keep your left shoulder on the floor. And if that's really difficult, again, just grab a strap. And we're just going to kind of give ourselves a nice hamstring stretch for just a couple breaths here. And start working on your thoracic breathing again. Check it back in with yourself. Make sure that you're taking nice big breaths, enough to give you the oxygen to do these moves, but keeping your core engaged. You can release your foot, bend that knee back down into our starting position. Now bring the right foot up. Again, hook the toes. And we'll just take a few more breaths here. Getting our legs ready for the next one. All right, you can release your right foot. And now get back into your kind of your base position. So check in with where your hands are, your feet. Your feet should be about as wide as your hips, and you want to make sure as we come up that your knees don't flay out to the side. So if it helps, you can put a little small kids beach ball type thing in between your knees, or a yoga block on the kind of middle setting, or I guess depending on how wide your hips are. So anyway, let's start to come up. So very slowly, we're going to start like we were just doing with our bridge prep. So press into the feet. Kind of tilt the tailbone toward the ceiling, have those marbles on the tray on your pelvis all roll up toward your face. And you're just going to start lifting up one vertebrae at a time until your torso and thighs are somewhat in a straight line. We're not going to do the full yoga where you really arch up. So keep your core engaged. If you want, you can put your hands onto your hip bones just to check in and make sure you're not tilting or wobbling too much. And for starters, we're just going to see if you can just put as much weight as you can into one foot without letting the opposite hip bone drop. And then come back to center. And now try with the other foot. So you're not actually lifting the foot off the ground at this point. You're just shifting your weight and trying to keep your hips stable. Now, if that seemed to go all right for you, next time you can try actually lifting up onto your toe. So just lift the heel If anytime you start, feeling your hips dipping, then just go back to the one before and just stick with that. You're going to lift your right heel. If that felt good, see if you can lift your whole leg up. So we're going to be alternating for now. If that went pretty well, the next time you're going to lift your leg up and you're going to extend it overhead, flex the foot, and then bring it down. Let's do that with the other foot. Let's bring it up, flex the foot, extend it overhead, plant it back on the ground. Now, if that was all going pretty well and you weren't feeling any dipping in your hips, go ahead and extend. I'm going to start with my left foot here, and I'm going to lift and lower several times. So I'm going to lower it with a flexed foot until my thighs are parallel. I'm going to point the toe, bring it back up, flex, bring it down, point, bring it up. We'll do 5 of these. So I'm on my last one. I'm going to plant the foot back down and just slowly lower back down onto my sacrum, just for a quick little break. And then preparing again, I'm going to slowly come up one vertebrae at a time. I'm going to repeat that with my left foot. So again, your hands can stay at your, it's not your side anymore because your side's up in the air, but down on your mat, or they can come up. Check in with your hip bones. I'm going to bend my right foot or right leg in, extend it overhead, flex the foot, bring it down. And again, we're going to do 5 on this leg. So try to keep it as smooth and fluid as you can. Make sure that you're not dipping. I'm getting confused about when I'm pointing and flexing. All right, go ahead and replace that leg. Come back down. We're just going to take a quick little Viparita Karani break. So go ahead and just kind of put both legs up in the air. If you want to kind of rest on a block, or you can even use your fists. And that's just to kind of get the blood, from pooling in the legs. You're using them that much. And now go ahead, if you're on a block, come down, grab your toes again, or you can use 2 straps. We're just going to kind of do a wide-legged supine stretch. You can kind of rock side to side too. Sometimes that feels good on the lower back when you've been doing stuff like this. Bring the legs back together. Squeeze them in towards the chest. You want to rock a couple more times or do some leg circles in both directions. And we're going to get ready to come back up again for scissors. So, again, we're going to come up just like we were coming up into bridge. So you're going to press down through your feet, press your hands into the ground, and you're going to start to tilt your tailbone toward the ceiling and lift your spine off one vertebrae at a time. Now we're going to take our hands, instead of putting them on the hip bones, you're going to just kind of support. It's kind of that little gap kind of between the sacrum behind the iliac crest there. So kind of just wherever it's comfortable, basically. And then you're going to lift one leg and then the other. And then kind of rotate so that your thumbs are in front here. I don't know if you can see, but my thumb's kind of grabbing in front of my hip bone, and then my fingers are kind of cradling the back. Again, you want to just kind of find a good position. And so you want obviously your upper spine is going to be rounded some, but your lower spine, so kind of from your bottom of your shoulder blades to your tailbone, you want that to be in a fairly neutral position. So not rounded like that, but you also don't want it really arched like that. Just come to a neutral position. Now we're going to do some scissors. So you're going to just kind of work on your balance. And you're going to bring one leg to the floor and then switch. And so again here, the range of movement isn't quite as important as the stability, and making sure that when you bring a leg down, you're not coming forward and putting a ton of weight into your neck, and that you're not rocking and rolling all over the place and losing balance, because our next Pilates pose is going to have a little more movement in it. So now you can stick with these if that's comfortable for you, or you can move into bicycles. So for that, you're going to bend your legs and basically just go like you're riding on a bicycle. And you can kind of go as fast or as slow as you want. Obviously, faster is going to be a little harder to maintain your stability. Do a couple more this way, and then we'll switch directions. So now it's like you're back pedaling. All right. And you can kind of stretch your legs, keep the lower spine neutral, and then just kind of put your hands back down beside you. Lower back down one vertebrae at a time. Bend your knees into kind of the bridge starting pose. We're just going to give our glutes a little stretch here. So a figure 4 stretch. Cross one of your legs or kind of one of your ankles above the knee of the other leg. If that's enough, you can just hang out there for a bit, or you can grab behind the thigh, or you can even grab the shin. Kind of pull that leg into your chest. Just getting a nice stretch kind of along the outer upper part. Go ahead and release. Switch legs. So now you're going to take your right leg, cross it over just above the knee of the left leg. Again, you can bring that in as tight as you want to feel a nice stretch. Maybe it's foot staying on the floor. Maybe you're grabbing behind your hamstring. Maybe you're grabbing the front of your calf or your shin of your left leg. Again, just hold for a few breaths. And release. One more, kind of hugging the knees into the chest. A few breaths. If you want to just stay here, maybe rock side to side, you can. If you want to do a little bit of rolling front to back to kind of get in some massage, you can either grab behind your hamstrings, because that's a little easier to get some momentum going, or you can hold in front, do some rolling like a ball. Again, if you want to just stay in Apanasana and do some knee circles or whatever, we're just going to give our back a little bit of a break before going up into jackknife, which is definitely one of the more challenging ones. So I'm going to come back to kind of our bridge starting position that we've been using for most of these poses. And so jackknife, there really are not a lot of modifications and variations. Again, this is definitely not one that you want to do if you have osteoporosis or any pre-existing neck injuries or just general neck pain. Ideally, you want to be keeping, more of the weight onto your shoulders, but that does require quite a bit of back flexion in order to do that and not put too much weight onto your neck. So what we're going to do, if you're comfortable going back on your shoulders, but you're just not ready for a jackknife and you will want to make sure that you've got some room behind you, you can start with just kind of bringing your feet up and then bringing them behind you. Maybe see if you can touch the floor with them, maybe not. So this is kind of the rollover, which I guess in a way is kind of a prep. So, and maybe we'll do just a few of those to start out. Again, your feet don't have to touch the floor. Maybe they'll kind of be hovering above by a foot or two. So roll back down one more time. And now this time, we're going to roll back and now push into the ground with your hands as you extend the feet and the legs up. And so you're kind of trying to straighten your torso line here to some extent. And then very slowly, you're going to roll back down onto your spine, one vertebrae at a time. Feet up. And then you're going to roll back and again, push all the way up. Now, if you want, you can just go from, without rolling all the way back, you can just kind of jackknife it up and down. I kind of like to do the full kind of roll all the way back. We'll do one more of those. So again, big exhale as you roll all the way back down. Now we're going to come into our kind of bridge starting position. So knees bent, arms next to your side. Go ahead and extend your arms all the way out to the sides. We're going to start doing some cool down stretches now. So you're going to start by just taking your legs, keep your right shoulder and arm on the ground and just drop your legs to the left. You can keep the knees bent, or if you want, you can extend your top leg, which is my right leg, grab it with your hand, and just get a nice little supine stretch here. If you want, you can start kind of relaxing some more, breathing into the belly some more. Now release your foot if you're holding on to it. Bring both your legs together, bent on the floor, and then using your abdominal strength, pull your knees back up so that your kneecaps are facing the ceiling. We're going to do that on the other side, so make sure to keep your left shoulder and arm planted on the ground. If your knees don't touch all the way to the right side, that's fine. Just going to slowly let them start dropping. Again, if you want, you can extend your top foot, grab onto it with your right hand. Just take a few nice deep breaths here. You're getting a nice hip stretch and spine stretch all at the same time. One or two more deep breaths. And then you're going to release your foot if you're holding onto it. Bring it to join your leg that's on the ground. And again, using your abdominal strength, pull back up to the center. And now we're going to keep rotating. So kind of roll your legs to the left again, but let your whole body follow until you are laying on your stomach. And we're going to do a Sphinx, just kind of, because we did so much flexion, so now we want to kind of open up the front. So if you want, you can just stay on your forearms. You can also grab a block or two and kind of, I don't have my blocks with me, but you would put those under to kind of lift yourself up some. You want to keep your pelvis kind of firmly planted into the ground, though, because if you lift it up, then you're potentially just going into flexion again. You really want to work on some extension. If this feels good, you can also, like I said, you can use blocks, or you can kind of push into your hands. You want to keep them not directly under your shoulders unless you're just freakishly flexible, which maybe you are in that case. But like I said, you want to make sure that your pelvis stays on the ground and that you're really opening up through the front of your body. Maybe you want to stay up in this for a little bit. Maybe come back down to the forearms. And then another thing you can think about is almost feel like you're pulling your body forward. And that's really going to open up kind of the chest area. Some nice extension into your upper spine. And slowly release, bring your arms out to the side. We're just going to do a gentle neck stretch. So come to rest on your right cheek. Take a few breaths here. And switch it. Come to rest on your left cheek for just a couple breaths. You're going to come back up, transition through Sphinx, but what you're going to do is you're going to take your right arm and you're going to lace it under the left arm and then basically lay down on top of it. And you might not come all the way down. My shoulder's kind of tight today. If you'd like to add a quad stretch to this too, you can take your left hand, kind of grab onto your left leg, and see if you can just rest your forehead on the ground. So you get a stretch through your right shoulder and your left quad. Just going to hold this for a few breaths. It wasn't a super arm intense workout, but we were using them pretty much the whole time we were up in bridge, anytime that we went up there. So I give them a little stretch. And you can go ahead and release that leg. Come back up, transition through Sphinx again. Now you're going to take your left hand, kind of lace it through that little triangle created with your right arm, and slowly come down like you're kind of resting your chest onto your upper left arm. Again, you can just stay like this, or if you want to add in a little quad stretch, reach back with the right hand, grab the right foot, and just pull it up. You can let your forehead rest on the ground. Or if that's not comfortable, you can grab a little blanket or a pillow or something, or a block. Take a few nice breaths here. And slowly you can start to release that foot. Now roll all the way onto your back. If you want to do one more shoulder bridge just to kind of get your spine up, you can come up, kind of squeeze your shoulder blades together, relax them, and then kind of drop your spine down one vertebrae at a time, getting your spine nice and straight for Shavasana. You're going to extend one leg and the other. Let your feet and ankles relax. Take your arms, kind of turn your palms toward the ceiling. Stretch your fingertips long away from the crown of your head, and then relax and let the palms just fall wherever they fall. We're just going to do 1 minute in Shavasana here. Think about just relaxing your body, breathing naturally, and just relax. If you'd like to stay in Shavasana longer, you don't have any pressing things that you need to get to, you are more than welcome to. Otherwise, you can start to wiggle your fingers and toes, maybe some circles at the ankles and wrists. I always like to do a full body stretch before rolling out of Shavasana. Stretch the hands overhead. Reach your fingertips as far away from your toes as you can. And take a big yawn. Now when you're ready, start to roll over onto one of your sides. Rest your head on your upper arm. Bring your knees up into a fetal position. Take another breath or two before you use your upper hand to push yourself up into a seated position. If you want to take another just quick neck stretch, bring the chin down to the chest. Maybe bring the right ear to the right shoulder. Drop the left shoulder. Bring the chin back down to the chest. Now bring the left ear to the left shoulder. Drop down the right shoulder. Bring the chin to the chest one more time. Drop down both shoulders. Really get a nice stretch. Bring your head back up to the center. And that concludes our class for today. Thank you so much for joining me. So what'd you think, Elena?
Yeah, I was finding the unmute button. It took me a second. It was amazing. I loved it. Guys, how was it? Tell us. Hey, friends, bungalows for bachelors. Wow, you have a cool name. Tell us how was the class, if you managed to do everything. I have some feedback from Melody. I loved it. It's like, if you want to see my embarrassment, literally, guys, come join us with your classes, because she always manages to kick my ass, okay? Yeah, in a good way. I love it, Melody. I love your classes, and you know that. Yeah. This is Sam. Oh, Sam! Is this you? Do you remember Sam?
Oh, yeah. Hey,
Wow.
Sam.
Good to see you. Yay. Yeah, I have some feedback for you. I really loved when we were laying down and getting into the bridge, how we didn't lift the leg like right away, but you made sure that it was all aligned, and then you were not dipping into the hip, into the opposite hip. You know, this is such a good reminder for me, you know, when I'm teaching classes. Yeah, as for like neck and back, my neck wasn't super happy today, but it could be just me. I felt like if you did do like a little more circles, maybe that would help people get more into the like rollovers and stuff, because I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm so stiff in that area. But it could be just me because I didn't really work on my neck. I forgot to stretch it like yesterday, and for a couple of days I
Yeah,
didn't.
or maybe have some like neck stretch breaks kind of like throughout the thing rather than just at the beginning and end. I mean, I
Yeah,
kind
it
of did like
could.
the crocodile thing, but that was, like not
Yeah,
that was
and
like,
another thing that you could probably do is, I felt like, I got the exercises, I really loved the exercises, but I felt like if you added like side planks, or like moving from different planes a little bit, just to the right a little bit, because when you are always just there, like doing the same kinds of movements all the time, it kind of gets tiring, like for the neck and for the shoulders. I don't know how
yeah,
people feel. Like, yeah, guys, give us your feedback, because we are trying to improve the quality of the classes. Always there is room for improvement. Okay, if you liked, tell us what you liked specifically, be more concrete. Okay, if you didn't like something, tell us what could be improved. Okay, because we are always looking for this kind of feedback from you guys. I always ask people what they were able to do during the class and not, and then I can adjust it. So it's something to keep in mind, that like maybe add, I love the exercises that you were suggesting, but maybe like add a little bit of variety, so we don't always stay in the same plane. We like slightly move around, like
yeah. Well, and part of that is because, yeah, like I said, I'm kind of just like going through the list of like
I
these.
know, I know, I know.
This is like the chunk of like all of those ones. But yeah, definitely, I think, yeah, in terms of doing like a regular 40-minute class, I probably wouldn't want to
Yeah,
do this,
yeah.
everything one, because yeah, it is good to kind of go back and forth,
Yeah, like move a little bit. Yeah. Guys, tell us what okay, here, let's bring up Sam here. Cool. Yeah, stretching out with legs in the sitting position was fantastic. Do you
Oh, is that
remember
like
one,
when you
like
like grab your toes and kind of
like
hold
side to side? I think he means side to side. I
Oh,
loved it, but what I noticed is my core wasn't warm enough to do that, and this is why I didn't go like all the way. I could have gone all the way, but I was trying to show people the modification.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
yeah, like I said, it's not, especially when you're like, because if you're gonna like kind of lean forward, it's like really easy to touch your toe. But I have a hard time,
yes, I was struggling with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of just like you use kind of the gravity and the weight of your arm to kind of open up through the side
Yeah,
there.
and another thing is like, if you what I notice also when I teach classes in the gym, if you don't warm up like the torso before you go into the stretches, they will tend to lift the hip of the opposite leg towards, like you're reaching to one side, but then the opposite hip is lifting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I mentioned that on the second side to like not let, because yeah, that's another way. If you just like let, I
Yeah.
go way far over if I like rotate my chest and let my hip lift, but if I keep that down and keep my chest, it's like
That was like, this is what I was struggling with. Yeah, Sam, thank you for reminding that. I was thinking like, what else could I, yeah, that one was good. I was just struggling with it a little bit, because it's like we went kind of straight into the stretch, and like, wow. She's like, I can do it, but I don't know like if people could do it. So
well, maybe even doing like the spine twist thing before doing that would have been like a better like sequence, because then you're like really engaging like the kind of your obliques and
abdominals,
all of your
yeah, the obliques,
intercostals and stuff,
and then you're stretching.
I
Yeah,
get into
I
it.
usually do this kind of stretch because it's a pretty intense stretch. I usually do it after intense oblique work. Like you get into the side planks, or you go like what was it called? Not a crunch, but like
Oh,
laying
like
down.
the bicycles, like where you're like,
Yeah, like a bicycle or something. And then when you really warm up the obliques, and then they are ready to stretch, or like yeah, you go like side to side. That was good. I really love the stretch. I was just like, wow, I did not expect it then, you know.
Not so early on in the class.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh my gosh, she's really doing it. Okay, another one from Sam here. Melody, how do you pick up heavy things over and over without hurting your back? I could use some help here.
Gotta lift from the legs. Do Pilates. Keep spine in neutral
Yes.
position. I don't really have anything heavy to lift, but yeah, you do have to kind of stick out your booty, but that's the main thing, is just keep your spine straight, and then
you activate your abdominals when you are picking up. This is a good question. This is where a lot of heavy weightlifters can really hurt themselves if they sink into the hips and arch their backs, release the abdominals. You have to always keep your abdominals engaged when you are lifting the heavy weights. I see it all
you never
the time.
want to like bend over like that, and
Yeah.
you're gonna look silly because like I said, you're gonna be out there like picking up like big things of paint and just like popping your booty out, but it's like at least you're not hurting your back, you know. But
yeah, nice.
And twisting too is another thing where it's like the same. You just want to kind of keep your torso like locked into position, you know, in terms of like forward and backwards. And then, you know, because that's like the biggest thing is when people are like twisted and picking something up, because then they'll like kind of bend over, and that's just asking for problems.
Yeah, Pilates. Join us for these Pilates classes. They're really good for building strong abdominals. We work not just with like spinal flexion, like we did today for the most part, right? Because Melody is still completing her teacher training for Pilates, so she needs to do those assignments that we have there, right, Melody?
Yeah, but then I'll start kind of mixing things up a little more, and like not just doing like one. And like we try to kind of keep the classes to like 40 minutes. So
you sure? We will start checking you out. Yes, so how could I forget? I knew your YouTube. I'm so sorry, guys. It's like after the class, my mind is elsewhere. I can't remember all of the names for the YouTube channels that I actually know the names for the guys. Sorry for that. Yeah, and we have Marcos joining us. Buen día, Marcos, ¿cómo estás? Yeah, nos alegra verte. Ok, gusto en saludarlas y estar en su clase. He salutes us, and then he really enjoys to be in the class.
Right.
Good to have you, Marcos. Yes. Okay, we only have 2 people today joining us, so hopefully next week we'll have more. Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining, for being with us, guys. Remember to write a few comments after the class. Por favor, Marcos, si puedes escribir algunos comentarios para nosotras.
Yes, I appreciate feedback, even if it's like, you know, like things like, hey, it would be a lot better if you did it this way, because I want to know those things, you know. I don't want to just like live in my little happy bubble of like, oh, I'm just the greatest teacher. It's like, no, I want to become better. Like, you can always become better at things. So
you will actually help us if you didn't like something in the class and find a way, okay, this could be done better, because we are looking for the constructive feedback. Okay, if you can always reach out. You can send an email to elenasbarre@gmail.com if you don't want to be public here. But we appreciate your feedback. Okay, we always do, and we always ask for it. Anyway, guys, we are going to wrap it up. I have my next live stream schedule, so join me for piano practice. It's going to be pretty embarrassing because I didn't play the piano this week as much as I did last week. So come join us. We will keep it once a week with Melody for now, right? You're still busy during the week?
Yeah, but I should be able to do at least once a week on the weekends, unless I don't know, try to get in some like last minute camping trips while the weather's still nice or something. But
sure.
But I'll let you know ahead of time.
Yeah. Let me know. Yeah, and sometimes during the week, I substitute the gym classes when there are a lot of yoga classes out there, and they often ask me to substitute the yoga classes during the week. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for those of you who joined us, for those of you who are rewatching the live stream. We appreciate your feedback, guys, and yeah, we wish more people were joining us for live workouts. I'm running them 5 times a week. The where is it? Regular classes at 7:15 a.m. PST. This is a cross training program. You can check it out on elenasbarre.com and also sign up for the classes if you commit to the classes. If you sign up for them, you will probably stick to the program and you will get more results, okay, over time. Anyway, see you soon, Melody. Thank you so much. Amazing class. Love
Thank
you
you,
all.
guys. Seeing you.
Yeah, I'll take us out here. Cool. Bye.
Bye bye.